Hello.
Hey there, David.
Can you see me? You can't see me?
I cannot see you.
I can hear you.
Hello,
Oh,
hello.
there you are.
Hey.
Ooh,
Oh, it's there. Okay,
there
good.
you are. I like your
I,
setup.
it's a brand new setup. The old place was really cool. Eventually, I'll get a room outside there in a little building. But right now, we moved to Ventura County, and so we're in the top, we're in the second. So it's yeah, it's
Oh,
working.
nice.
It's working
Decent
well.
little office space.
It's yeah, it's a great temporary location. Let's put it that way. All right, so
Oh,
are we recording already, or how
We
do we?
we are we are yeah.
Let me get my toy. All right,
oh,
And
cool.
oh, what is that one? Oh, I like it.
the desk. Ratchet and Clank is on the desk too. It's over there.
Nice, nice.
Love that one. So do you play a lot of video games yourself, or mostly just the voice work on them?
Used to, but you mostly the voice work now, just because for me to. I mean, I know some people are totally into it, and have time. I don't like when I'm done with my day. I'm usually watching, trying to catch up on binge watching something.
Oh yeah, there's so many TV shows out nowadays. It's overwhelming almost.
Stuff out there, or that, and I don't know how the hell I got into it, but I've been studying this for this wine exam thing, and it's just I don't know, I got into it, and then my parents go, I don't know whose kid you are, but I got into it, and it takes a lot of effort and concentration to learn about that. So I'm spend time doing that. But my son now, he got a PS5 before. I don't know how the hell he got one, but one day over to his place, and we're gonna play Ratchet and Clank. I'm gonna finally be able to play it. There, I
Oh
got
yeah,
his arms in. There he is.
Oh, nice. I like it.
Put him on Ratchet.
that's so cool.
Get out of the
My
way.
kids love Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, this I got this. Oh, his arm fell off. That when the movie came out, they gave us all the Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
I love this. Yeah, that sits on my desk.
Man, who would have thought it would have just had a whole new just revival of Ratchet and Clank, you know?
Yeah, I mean, no one ever knew, right? You just never know when you read for something. That was the audition for that for Clank was like a paragraph, and it was we don't. He's a robot. We don't want him to sound like a robot. We kind of want to have human elements to him. We want to.
Right, right.
It was like a paragraph, and then I went, geez, I don't know. I started talking like this. My head would go back and forth. I'm sure that's why I have neck problems. Is if I wasn't doing it right, because it was always like, Ratchet, we must find Captain Court. My head was like back and forth, and that's how I knew I was in the pocket for that role, because my head was, my neck was sore. But yeah, a little paragraph, and then when I got the audition for the Beast Wars thing and any other stuff I've done in the past, there's been a big bunch of paper and characters and relationships and all this stuff and pictures. And with Ratchet and Clank, there was nothing. There's nothing at all. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your birthday to chat with us. I know it's a real pleasure for you.
Yeah, it's good to be here. No, it's all good, man. It's great. It's let's the number doesn't make sense to me. I don't know how I got to this number. I'm glad I did, and we're just going to celebrate every year. Period.
There you
Right,
go.
All I do. Yeah.
So when you were younger, what type of stuff did you geek out for, sort of nerd for?
Wow. I think back about that. You know what I used to do? I don't know if anybody else has done this before, but I was. It's interesting because one of my first, large roles was G.I. Joe, a Great American Hero.
Right, right.
Here I was, born in Canada, and that didn't really stick with me until I got my citizenship. I know I walked out of the LA Convention Center and went, all right, now I can say, Great American Hero. But I used to play a lot of army men. I used to order those soldiers in the plastic soldiers in the back of comic books.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was like, get 4,000 soldiers for $1, and it's just send away for this stuff. And I would set them all up on my room, and I have bunk beds, and I go on top of the bunk beds and get a ruler with an elastic band, and I'd put it on and I'd aim it and try and ping off the different soldiers. So it was I remember G.I. Joe. I remember the large Mego dolls. My friend of mine had a bunch of those.
Oh yeah.
So there's that, and then I seriously got into Famous Monsters of Filmline magazine. I think they still make it. And we used to go to this comic book store in my small hometown. It was Sandy's bookstore. My friend, somehow, he was the same age as me, but he got a job in the basement of this bookshop, and Sandy's bookshop, and it smelled like cigars and newspaper or books. It was just it was a great smell. It was a welcoming smell. A cross between like a pipe tobacco and comic books. There's I don't know. It was just, you wanted to kind of stay there and read.
It's a comforting smell.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And I used to go down. It was down creaky old wooden stairs, and Dave would be the head of the comic books, and he would be, organizing them and stuff like that. And I go and hang out on Saturdays with him, and I remember like looking through, being fans of Jack Kirby before I knew who the hell Jack Kirby was, and Stan Lee, and reading old comic books, the Hulk, and I remember I had like Iron Man 3. I had Iron Man like 3, 4,
Oh, wow.
5.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I had all these some awesome books, early Spider-Man, and little did we know, later on those comics would grow in value. But I became a real fan of Marvel. I also like the DC stuff. And it's interestingly enough, fast forward all these years later, that, I'm working, and I've worked with both franchises. Both
Right. Yeah.
Marvel. And it's weird. And then when I met Stan Lee, God bless him. I wish he was still around, but I had never I'd never met him or worked with him. And the one time I was in an episode with Avengers Assemble, and the producer called me and said, "Hey, you got to come by the studio because surprise for you." Anyway, we recorded. He said, "What was it? No, you got to. I make sure, just making sure you're coming in today because special surprise." Because one of the producers knew that I had not met Stan, and I was like going off on, "How come I've never met Stan? Everybody else the picture. I got nothing." And so in I walk, and oh my God, it's Stan Lee. And he's there. And the same day, Mark Hamill is there playing a part.
Oh, geez.
Oh, geez, man.
So we're all there. And it's Mark Hamill's birthday that day. And it was just amazing because most of the cast were in, and Stan was in a special, cameo in this episode. And I was, what's his name? Ben von Simo. I had to all this thing. It was all listening, blah blah blah, and Mark Hamill was another one of my henchmen, and Stan had a part, and they recorded Stan first, because he had to go, of course, but he wanted to hang.
Right.
Oh yeah.
His font, the font on the stands we walk in it's that big. They go, wow, look at that! Look at the size of that! And somebody made a comment. Roger Craig Smith said something goofy, as he always does, and Hamill says, "Hey, we should all be so lucky to have font that big, we should all live that long to be able to read font. Period. Never mind how big it is." Meeting
Right.
Stan afterward, I was a kid. I was the kid back in the comic book store, and Stan says, "So what do you do on the show?" I said, "Oh, I play Baron von Zemo," and I was Jarvis. He said, "Baron von Zemo, give me a little Baron von Zemo." So, oh my God, I'm on the spot. I said, I'm going to die a horrible death, Mr. Stan Lee. I don't know what I said, the whole good, very good. Yes. And it was just, to me, it was your heart's racing, and your first thing you think is, oh my God, I hope I'm doing a good job for Stan Lee. And he'd left, and we all got back to the second half of the show recording, and Mark Hamill's birthday brought some cake in from Mark. And I'm sitting there thinking, I remember as a kid in the comic book store and Stanley and blah blah blah, and I also remember in 1977 going to see Star Wars in the local theater, and I'm in the room with these two people who are legends, and so yeah, I've had moments like that throughout my career, and continue to do so, but that was really special. So me being a comic book geek and meeting those guys, in particular Mr. Lee, was pretty damn special.
Oh, no doubt.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm still collecting those comic books. I got the X-Men and the DC, the new Robin comics.
Yeah,
are
the
really
new
good
Robin comics
nowadays.
are really good.
They're great. We used to do when I was living in LA, in Burbank area. We used to get together when I was doing Transformers animated with Derek Wyatt and Matt Youngberg, and the producers, Marty, the writer.
Yeah.
All of us, we would get together once in a while, and we would hit New Comic Book Day at the House of Secrets in Burbank. We'd meet for lunch at the Talleyrand. It's been around forever, and in particular, we'd always have our Thanksgiving, and that would be the day before. There'll be on the Wednesday, and we'd all meet up at lunch and have. They were famous for their all year. They'd have the turkey, turkey and mash and cranberry sauce, and then
Oh, nice.
pumpkin pie, and it was the gravy on it. It's old school, but we would always go and have like our Thanksgiving, and then we walk down the street to House of Secrets, which is an amazing comic book store in Burbank, and we'd buy new issue, buy a whole bunch of stuff, and you'd see all kinds of people in there doing the same thing. Everybody's wearing like a plaid shirt from the 90s, and they look like they like big beards and stuff like that. And Matt or somebody will always say, "Hey, see that over? That's so and so. That they're working on the brand new Marvel film, or he's a head writer for." And they're all kids, right? To me, they're kids. And so it was just a really special time. We still do that once in a while, and I'm kind of hoping to get the band back together again to do our Thanksgiving this year, because we can now. Last year was so depressing.
Oh yeah.
This year we can. We can do that with a fair amount of, with a fair amount of that we might not get sick this time. So
Well,
we're going to try and do that again this year.
You probably can't walk into a comic store without throwing a stone and hitting either a comic book or a manga that you voiced in.
It's kind of weird. But I'm a fan, just like anyone. And
that's so cool.
The thing is, all the other people in that comic book store are also either they're animators, they're writers, because I keep forgetting, you're in LA, you're in Hollywood, and everyone's sort of there. They're doing this stuff. They're getting their information. Who's
right.
Ratatouille, the famous comedian? He's so funny. I'm just blanking his name.
He's
the comedian. He's in everything.
Patton Oswalt.
Yes, Patton.
Yeah,
Oswalt.
yeah.
Patton Oswalt is there all the time, and I remember seeing Patton a couple of times. Just I wouldn't bother him that, but there was a restaurant he used to eat at, and we used to go to all the time when my kids were in school in Burbank. And he used to leave stacks of comics. He would come into this restaurant. I got to know the owner. He goes, "Yeah, Patton comes in all the time. He reads them and just like, here, man." He leaves them for other people. So
that's awesome.
If you want to take some home, so I remember grabbing like a few stacks once in a while that Patton had just left there because he already read through them. So he'd go and have coffee and have lunch, and he'd read his comic books, and he does that. Apparently,
nice,
so kind of neat.
So, as a big fan of comics, I'm sure you've thought about this at some point in your life. If you could have a superpower, what would your superpower be?
Oh, well, I know, to turn back time. Turn back time. But I would still know what I know now. But I would be younger knowing what I know now. That would be very powerful. That would be extremely powerful, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No doubt.
That's Eye of Agamotto level stuff going on there. Doctor Strange.
Absolutely. And there you go. But I think that'd be kind of cool to turn back time. I think that's why. I think it's one of the reasons why I kind of dig wine so much in the old stuff, because you open something from your birth year. Like I said, I was born in '64, so there's a couple bottles of something we had from Napa, and surprisingly really good. So you open that bottle and you're thinking, well, those grapes. When I was born, those grapes are coming in off the vine. And it's farming, right? It's hard. It's hard ass work. It's
Oh,
you
yeah.
get down to it, take all the romance out of it. It's hard work. It's an alcoholic beverage, but the reason why it's so special. Some of that stuff ages very well, and you can open some old wine and it takes you right back to like a friend's birthday was like in 73, and we found some California Zin or cab from somewhere, and one of the older wineries, and we cranked down some tunes from 73. It was like Angie from the Stones and all this old, kind of rock and roll. And it's like, man, and you sit there and listen to it, and it's a time machine essentially. I can think that's why.
Oh yeah.
And there's some.
You ever try that Ohio wine?
I haven't.
It's supposed to be good. We got a little section up in Northeast Ohio they call the Napa of Ohio.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like
some great wine grapes.
I think like 2 or 3 wineries within 15-20 minute drive from where I'm at. And like my wife and I, when we were able to, would just go and sit, and they've got this beautiful view over like the woods and a river, and eat some cheese and drink some wine and have a good old time.
People have been doing that for millennia, for thousands of years.
Oh yeah,
and it really is. It's about. I always tell people it's not necessarily about the beverage, but it's about who you're with, and it's about where you are, because all the wineries, every state has wine now that produces wine, and you go to these places and you sit out like you said, and it's like, look at that. It's a moment. You take it because it's always a beautiful view. It's everyone's joyful, it's happy, we're having a little drink. Mm-hmm. It's about joy. There's so many things that are just so shitty these days. It's one of those things you go, you sit there and somebody pours you a go, this is from the so-and-so, and you're like, okay. And you sit looking around going, look at this. And you forget, this is beautiful. And you forget, you take a moment to forget all the crap, and you take, you step off for a second and just admire that. Look at that. So that's sort of why I like it. I do want to do the Bourbon Trail too, through Ohio and in Kentucky there.
Oh yeah.
To do that. Because
one day I'll definitely do that. I've got my my maker's mark over here. I've got some other stuff downstairs, and that's my kind of drink. I like wine, but give me a whiskey or bourbon any day.
Bourbon is my other second love. It's Michter's is my go-to. I love Michter's. Trying to go through all those if I can, and Maker's is always. I was always a bottle of Maker's here, but that's again, it's like. It's sort of, you step off. Life is fast, and I always think a bourbon with a buddy is always a good way to sort of step off and stop the clock for a minute. I always think wine is, to me, is sort of like a, you can go back in time, a time machine, and bourbon to me is like, let's stop the clock and step off and take a moment.
Nice.
So that's I kind of dig it all, man. It's fun, but that's sort of what I nerd out to these days when I'm not doing VO. But this is what I love, like being in front of this microphone and doing, characters and working on shows and whatever. It's just, I still ache every morning to get up and, do it again.
Nice. I like that.
Well, you brought up the Stones and music and stuff. What is some of your favorite type of music? What do you like to rock out to?
I'm all over the map. I really could be in the mood.
Cool.
Like my high school days were the 80s, so there's always some 80s going on, and my daughter's kind of cool because they love the 80s, and my son's into techno and stuff, and it's a lot of fun because I went through all these phases, and I like it all. I go through everything from classical to AC/DC to blues to jazz.
Oh yeah. All right, we got something in common there.
Oh yeah. We're both the same way. We were in our high school jazz band, so we played that and the orchestra. And
I was in the jazz band.
Nice. What'd you play?
What did you play?
Played bass guitar. I played,
nice.
played trombone, a little bit of trumpet way back. That's kind of all over the place. But yeah,
I was the guy who just hit things. I was the drummer.
Yeah, my dad. That's my dad's claim to fame in his town. He was their group was one of the first rock bands in my hometown in a little place called Peterborough, Ontario, Canada, and they have a star on the Walk of Fame because his group, the Sonics, were they call it. I guess think of the Sonics, and there was an original one, the famous one, but they were the Sonics in Peterborough, and they were the first rock band in our town back in the day.
Oh, nice.
So they weren't the will have love will travel Sonics. They were the other.
No, they were the little known, lesser known Sonics.
That's cool though. I mean, I know like with my rock band, my son's my biggest fan, and you know, all 10 of them are great fans, but
it's great. My mom is tone deaf. Every time she starts to sing or hum, mom, no.
I can relate there.
Family's got this. Yeah.
Oh man, that's good stuff. So kind of going back to, stepping off and kind of escaping, the crazy life we have. If you could actually get teleported, if you could get, be in any one universe, whether it's cartoons or movies, books, what would you want to, where would you want to be?
Oh gosh. I always dug Star Trek. I always love that. I love science fiction. To be able to one day, travel to different worlds was always kind of big with me. I like to think somewhere out there there's another civilization. I'm sure we can't be it in this entire vast.
Universe is very, very large. I agree with you 100% on that.
And so when William Shatner went up in space the other day, and he got very emotional about. He said, "I hope I never lose it. I hope I never lose this feeling." And because you realize how insignificant and fragile this planet is. He said, you look down, it's like this little layer that keeps us alive. Life, death, life.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that really affected him. And I really, what's the word I'm looking for? I empathized with that. I could feel that. He's the emotion, and it must be just incredible just to be able to look down and go, oh boy, that little layer. And it's crazy. And humanity and how the things we've invented, it's all been on this blue planet, and out there, nothing. Death, life. And I thought that was really profound, what he said when he landed back on the ground. So what an experience. But I like to think if I was transported to a time and a place, it would be space exploration, 500 years from now. Like, what would that be?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like that. I think that's our first Star Trek answer we've gotten on that question. So I like that.
Oh, yeah.
So is there any voice that you would like prefer if you had to get stuck into a different voice that you do? Is there any voice you'd prefer to be stuck in?
Where is my rubber ducky?
I don't know. Gosh, that character, I really like, I'm honest with you, I haven't seen anything I've done all the way through. I've literally not seen, like, if I've done a show, I have never like all the way through, like actually sat down. And for the first time, we just finished, or the He-Man Masters of the Universe just dropped, and I had to go play Talkie the Tiger, the Battle Cat, and of course I remember the original and stuff like that, and I love. It kind of came from a bit of a cross between Liam Neeson and, well, I can't remember the actor who was on Game of Thrones, who was remember the red witch, the
Yeah.
He was the king's like confidant. He was I don't think you should, it's not a good idea, sir. I don't trust her. It was one of those, and the voice came kind of, melded from those two characters. So sort of a softness in here, and with aplomb. And I really liked that voice print. It was really fun to do that. And I don't know. By the power of Grayskull. It was kind of fun to say that too.
Oh, I imagine, especially like with how iconic the original was.
Yeah, it's cool. So I love that voice placement. And the Megatron thing is interesting. I was talking to Rob Paulson a while ago, and I know some of us can, and it's very easy to get sort of, and that's word's not upset, but disappointed. You get a chance to inhabit this character in his role for a while, and if you're lucky enough, it lasts for quite a long time.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it's a short window. Enjoy it, and some people, we're talking about the next iteration of Transformers, and I said, look, I was fortunate enough to be even cast in the role, and none of us had any idea how longevity this thing goes, right? So to be able to do, yes, and excellent, and still do it at conventions and be able to, horse around that voice has been pretty amazing, because we don't own it. Like, we don't own the character. It's just, we just get to inhabit it for a while. And I think to be very thankful, the fact that we even get that chance is amazing. So, that's just crazy. The way show business is. You do your thing, and then somebody else comes. It's just the way it is. And I think a younger me would sort of get really bent out of shape and like, oh yeah, whatever. Now I'm like, hey man, what a ride, what thrill. I got a chance to. Now we're doing the Battle Cat, and some other characters are coming up that I can't tell you about quite yet. But
also some stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, there's a big one that's just been. I don't think I can talk about it yet, guys.
All right, yeah, don't break any NDAs. We are not worth it.
But it's pretty cool, and again, it's a chance to inhabit these characters and bring life to them, and how fun is that? So that's the deal, That's the deal.
I like it, and
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You get to revisit so often. I mean, who knew like Inuyasha? They'd be
bringing it back after 20 years.
The toy's still in here. I got some toys here in the new house. I still have, the Optimus Prime, the animated, and that was fun to do. Transform and roll out, basically my own voice. Who's with me?
Nice.
And Inuyasha is they brought him back.
Sesshōmaru,
yeah.
So now it's Yashime and Seshi's. I got a chance to wear the fur robe again. And
right. Cool.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, how long has that been? And when did we start that?
Oh man, Inuyasha was what? Late 90s?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, this says in the back of this, coming to the PlayStation 2, November 2004.
Oh man.
I think we were about to start high school then.
Yeah,
yep.
What the hell was I doing in 2004? I guess I was doing this.
Yeah, voicing Sesshōmaru.
I was still in Vancouver. I didn't leave to come down here to 2007, so I'm still doing that. Yeah, man, that's crazy. But I got toys. We went through some toys, man. You'd fall over. My booking agent, he came over, and him and Nori came over, and from Celeb Works. They're my booking agents, and before we moved out of LA, we had a ball. We went through. I sold them a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to probably part with a lot of it and sell it and get rid of it. Some pretty cool toys, like crazy ass toys. Like I got Welcome Back Cotter dolls, all in the box. I get Space,
oh wow,
Space 1999. I got the 2 leads in the box. I got Wonder Woman's. I think I bought them on eBay. I got the whole cast, aside from maybe a couple of them. The original Wonder Woman dolls, when Linda Carter was Wonder Woman, and
oh wow,
they're all Migos. They're
Right,
I don't know
right.
what they're worth, but there's some pretty cool stuff.
Oh yeah. See, I'm a bit of a collector. I'm sure you saw behind me, you know, some statues and all the Funko Pops and stuff. And uh, so like you know, you said you're going to get you know possibly sell some of them. Is there anything like you collect that you absolutely could never get rid of?
Oh, that's a good one. Geez, I don't know. Well, when I still have the old train set my dad had when he was a kid. I could never get rid of that.
Oh
I
wow.
have some sports cards. I mean, growing up in Canada, when you when you're born in that country, it's spliced into your DNA. There's a hockey gene.
Oh yeah.
Even even if you don't play it, it's there because you could be somewhere walking in Eastern Europe and hear like the sound of a hockey game. You're like walking like, hey, is that a hockey game there? What's going on?
I've got a buddy who was born in Canada and he's lived like all over the world, you know, in Europe and in the US, and like that's one thing that has always followed him, just
Yeah.
exactly how you described.
Excited tonight because my buddy who does the LA Kings podcast wished me a happy birthday on Twitter. I went, that's pretty cool because I got to sit up above and do a couple of after games, is you know, some commentary on the podcast. And a few years ago, I've seen a couple of Stanley Cups, which is if you're born in
Oh wow.
the Stanley Cup is sort of like the
That's the Super Bowl.
it is when that I've never seen, you know, and you know the James Naismith and Super Bowl trophy comes out. I've never seen anybody react to a trophy the way they do the Stanley Cup. It's like a
Oh yeah.
personality into itself. I remember being when the Kings won a couple times. The first time they won in 2012, and that thing comes out, and everybody's crying. Number one, like, oh my god, incredible. They're hugging and crying in tears, and I didn't think it ever happened. You know, grown men and women, and it comes out, and the music's to play, and the whole arena, Staples Center's like, whoa, like the whole ring, just like in reverence, like put their hand over their heart, and then there it is, and it's else to see, and the joy it brought. You know, the organization, and I never thought I'd see any Stanley Cups, and I had to move to LA to see them.
Right.
The fact that the LA Kings start their season tonight on my birthday is like, that's all right. I know what I'm doing tonight. You know,
That's awesome.
I can't believe them, the Lakers, and the Clippers all share one same arena and make that work.
Not for long. The Clips have struck a deal, and they're going to be in Inglewood, I think, at a brand new facility down the road.
No, nice for them.
But yeah, it's you know, moving to Los Angeles and having all that at your doorstep. Even though I'm still 45 minutes out of the city, it's still right there. And with the Hollywood Bowl and the Greek Theater for music, and in all the venues and the sports things you can go to, this but now that I'm kind of middle-aged, I kind of like being out here where it only takes a few minutes to get anywhere, and when you get there's tons of parking. Kind of digging. The beach is like 15 minutes that way, the mountain
nice.
right there. I'm like, okay, this is, yeah, I love the city, and I love the action, and I've always been a big city kind of person. But I kind of like looking at the back and seeing some agriculture, seeing some, you know,
Yeah.
You know, a little quiet and reserved, and
there's no choppers, you know, 11:30 at night. Like, go, what the hell? I remember I was so wound up the last few months. Who are they looking for? Is somebody is somebody in my backyard? You know, why are they hovering? Why every night is somebody stealing something at 11:30 just to piss me off? Is that? Oh my God. Come on, stop. So it's nice not to have that, to just go outside at night and go, listen to that, owls, you know, and I go, oh, wow, what have I been doing all these years?
You can see stars up in the sky.
Look at that.
And
yeah, it's something about it. And as much as like I said, I'm a big city, and LA's great. And it's weird because New York is one of my favorite cities, it's like my drug. I go there, and it's like, okay, hit me. Here we go. Woo! You get on the airplane, and you're exhausted because all your energy is like living in the city. And I think that'd be kind of cool for a while, but just, you know, when you get on the plane and come home, you're like, I'm done.
Yeah, it's like you have a social meter, and the second you walk out of there, you realized it's been maxed out for days.
Yeah. You're
Oh.
vibrating, literally vibrating. And we were set up last May. Last May, we'd rented an apartment just down south of toward downtown, but off of Broadway, like in the little quieter off, probably 4 or 5 blocks south and over. And we had rented an apartment. I said, okay, my agents were all happy. I was going to be in New York for the month. We're going to hit the restaurants and see a couple of shows and bang, bang, boom. Yeah. And my wife's Sicilian, so we're going to hit Little Italy and do all this stuff. And we've been in New York a number of times, and we're going to live there for a minute. And then, of course, the pandemic happened, and nobody was going anywhere. I still haven't been on an airplane yet after 2 years, and I used to go on an airplane every week because I really miss seeing you guys in person and doing the conventions and all this other stuff. And you realize how much you miss it when it goes away. And I can't wait to sort of get back out and doing that stuff again, because the whole reason I'm doing what I'm doing is because the fandom of these different shows and you guys, otherwise we don't exist. So it's great to go and meet in person and hang out and share a few laughs and maybe a drink or a conversation. That's
Right.
That's the real bonus of doing what I do.
Oh yeah.
You're right. So yeah, I dig that. I miss it.
Well, the real bonus of you guys getting trapped in your houses for a year was it gave us more access to talk to you.
That's
from
right.
Ohio.
Yeah, I remember the first interview I did after it was a couple months. People, oh my God, people! and there's another show I'm working on. We did all the table reads. We do table reads on Zoom, and then we record on Zoom.
Right.
Later in the week, and I got word that the table reads are going to be coming back. So I'm really looking forward to that, because that's where you get the energy,
Oh yeah, the interacting and reacting off of the other people and everything.
Having people, hearing the laughers they call them, and that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Well, we still appreciate you.
Of course. Tell me, so you're all dads, is that correct?
Yes,
yeah, we're both fathers ourselves.
And so how old? How old is
my son will be 9 in a couple days here.
Wow.
And my daughter's 6.
And my son is 4. He'll be 5 beginning of the year. So
you're right in the thick of it all.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fun times.
Oh man, I swear over the last week it's gotten worse, where it's like, hey, I need you to do this, and he'll just put his toy down with authority and go, no, I won't.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, well, it's kind of cool, man. My son will be 24. It's hard to believe. My daughter just turned 28, and that's just freaking me out. I honestly, time goes so fast. So just enjoy every second. Everybody tells you that.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I mean, the last 4 years have just.
Yeah, they fly.
Once they start establishing personalities and stuff, it's less fun when you realize they're more like you than you wanted them to be.
Oh, I do stuff now. I do stuff like this. I put my and listen to somebody, and I'm like this, and I go, oh my God, my dad. Every time my hand goes up, I go, no, put the hand down, because DNA is quite interesting, because there's a lot of things I'm starting to do now. When I watch my son walk away, he has the same gait as I do, and I can see our side of the family. It's the same. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well,
there, man.
To kind of to end this on a fun note, we always have our guest do an intro at the end, because we'll cut it off and throw it at the beginning of the episode for it. And it's real simple. Just introduce yourself, who you are, maybe some characters and voices if you want to do them. And you are listening to Two Dads and a Podcast.
Okay. You are listening to Two Dads and a Podcast. Yes. Excellent. don't forget me. Can I do one too? After all, I'm always second in command. You're listening to Two Dads, the podcast.
And from Masters of the Universe, don't forget to... What is it? What's my line? What is my line? Oh, yes. By the power of Grayskull, listen to Two Dads, the podcast. I feel powerful.
Hey, this is Tired Dad, and you've been listening to the Two Dads in a Podcast interview series. For more content, like and subscribe to this channel. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitch, and everywhere podcasts are available. To help us bring you more of these amazing interviews, you can support us on our Patreon. Just follow the links below, and thanks for watching.